Hooray, happy Monday. It feels great to be back at the desk for a fresh week. I love Mondays because you just never know the possibilities that can happen on a fresh week. You just never know if you're going to get one of those runners one day and it's just going to rip 100, 200, 300%, carry the whole market momentum, and a lot of stocks are going to start going in sympathy. You never know when that day is going to come, and Mondays, it just feel like the possibilities are endless. And that's why I love Mondays. I used to hate Mondays, when I was back in school. It sucked, just like waking up and you're like, crap, like I have a whole week of school. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do my homework. I don't want to sit in class and just mindlessly just mind dead looking at the teacher and the chalkboard and getting just handed packets after packets after packets every day and just scribbling crap down and not really wanting to learn. It's just, yeah, Mondays were the worst, growing up. I'm sure everyone can relate with that with school. Mondays were never enjoyable. And hopefully, there's some people who are still doing that after school when they're getting a traditional job, waking up Monday and thinking, oh, I have another 40-hour work week and I don't want to do this. And you know what? That I do not want to continue in my life. I've known that since, I've realized that there's other possibilities and other career paths out there that I don't want to live to wake up on a Monday morning and just think to myself, holy crap, I got to do this for 40 more hours until I get a break on Friday night to where I can now cheers my whiskey glass to my neighbor and just crap talk our jobs and other neighbors. So I don't want that. And that's why I am doing this. This is why I'm committed to trading, because I want to live a different life. And that's a reason why overnight today I doubled my share size. I completely doubled my share size. I figured I really got to a turning point at my job. I've realized that I do not want to be there. I can't be there much longer. It's just such an energy, emotional, physical drain on me. It it's almost it's just a very unpleasant experience, and this is the only way out, and I need to push a little bit harder, which is why I doubled my share size today. And I ended up as a green day, so that's pretty good. Had one big loss on AMPG, but overall, definitely a solid day. But I'm gonna stick with this share size for a little bit until I get a little bit more bigger green days under my belt, and then perhaps up it again. But I'm ready to start pushing it a little bit harder because I need to start taking some risk, because and my life ain't gonna change if I don't step into gear here and push my comfort zone and start trading a little bit bigger size. The whole reason that I want to trade is so I can go full time, and I still have my job, so I can always fall back on that. But I need to get out soon. So the best chance for me getting out is for me to start pushing it a little bit harder on my share size and having my average green day to be about $300 to $400, $500, and then I'd feel more comfortable just quitting my job and just leaving. Uh, but I'm definitely going to keep the job for right now, because until I can get confirmation that I'm going to be having bigger green days and I can at least meet my minimum expense per month, and a little bit more, uh, I'm definitely going to keep the job. And it definitely gives a little backstop, because I may size up here and double my share size and take a huge hit. I may not be able to really get dialed in and zone in and start making some bigger profits. I may actually take a step back, and I need that job to kind of support me financially. But sooner or later, who knows? Maybe next week, maybe this week. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow I come in and I have like a $500, $600, $700 day, and then the next day I come in and have another $500 day. I would consider just not coming in to work anymore. And I did build up a pretty big savings to where I can probably hold myself over for maybe about 6 months, and we'll see if my trading can take off in that 6 months time, to where I can go full time and not really have to worry about going back to work. So I'm kind of fumbling around with different ideas here. Probably the most responsible way to do this is to wait, be patient, push myself, obviously, like I've been doing here, but keep the job until I have proven at least a couple weeks of my weekly goal, which is going to be about $1,000 a week. That is my weekly goal. If I can hit that a couple times and start being more consistent for 1K a week, that's it. I'm calling my work and I'm quitting. So that's the plan for me moving forward. But let's review this trading here. Let's review the trading. So, well, let's look at my intraday pre-NL chart. So, small green, then I had one small red, and then back to small green, mostly on DTST, and then AMPG popped up, and I kind of bought the first pullback, and it just dumped on me. 10% loss on the starter size. And I was down about $66 at the low, and then at the open, I caught what was it? AGRI. I caught that for a nice $234 gain. That's pretty good. Very happy with that. And so I finished up 169.31. So let's go over DTST. This popped up, and I saw it was a low float, so I thought this would be a really good runner today, but it just was very thick, choppy. It was really hard to get fills on it. I couldn't enter and exit. Every single pop that I bought into literally got sold into, and I was just taking so many paper cuts over and over again. That was pretty much the theme with DTST. So this might go on my blacklist. I have no idea. So many bag holders on this probably. Let's look at the daily. Look at this. Look at this. You know how many bag holders are on this? This is probably why it's so choppy, because there's just so many sellers on it. I really thought this could be a winner because it's like 4 million float. Maybe this could get up to 6 or 7. Who knows? That would have been awesome. That's what I was really anticipating. However, it really didn't do anything here. We went up to 380. The range was crap. It was super thick, but it is what it is. I'm happy that I'm not super red on it, but I didn't get any traction on it. Eventually, I just dumped the stock and I moved over to AGRI, and that's where I actually got to make some decent money. So very happy with that. So DTST popped up, looking for a pullback, and then on the reclaim of the VWAP and the break of $3, I put in my starter position, looking for the break at the high. However, we did stall up here. I did take some off initially, then I pulled back a little bit too much, and I took this one off for about break even, the rest off for break even. Then added on the pullback here, and then adding into the breakout for a potential breakout, and we kind of just had a fake out here. Pulled back again, back to the VWAP, and then that's when I realized it was weaker than I thought. And here I was like maybe small red here. Then, we still held the 9 EMA, so I'm still like, okay, this is still in play. Could still break the high here. Still kind of getting aggressive here, 600 shares. 309, kind of looking for a breakout. This is sort of like a bull flag pattern here, or cup and handle. But we never really got that surge until here, which I actually got a nice $50 win on. So this is where I went small red to small green. Nice $50 win on. And then I bought this pullback, looking for a move higher. I was in a bit too high at 327. Never really kind of got a fill back up there, and I had to take it off for a small loss. And here, this is where I was kind of looking for a retracement back towards 340 for another breakout. Really, again, I thought this would be like a more of a ascending, almost parabolic move because of the float. That's why I was kind of putting starters down here, looking for anticipation, and I kept kind of getting chopped around. Then it completely just kind of flushed here on us. However, did some backside scalping, 1 cent there, and did a couple cents there. Then it retraced back to the high here. And it had another false breakout here. This is where, you know, I put in my starter here. It popped up and then it rejected so hard. I had no choice but to kind of sell some of my position here to manage my risk because this candle was so strong. It just showed me there's a lot of sellers on it and I needed to respect my risk here. Then it popped back up on another strong green candle. I started adding on this one because I thought this would be it. It was just a small little fake out. And then it rejects again and then it flushes harder on me. And this was just, it was so hectic. I couldn't get any traction on this pre-market. And I kind of gave back a lot of profit there. And it curls back up again towards the high. And I add on this candle, writing it up to the high here. Or actually, no, I got faked out there. Bought a pullback up 41. Looking for a move higher. Got faked out again at 39. Yeah, these were all red trades here. This was all red trades. This is where I gave back a lot of my profits. I was about break even at that point. Then we had a nice ABCD pattern, however, very low volume, you can see. Then we got a surge of volume through the high. This is where I bought for 53. I bought for the break of 50 here. Yeah, I was buying 50s. And ripped up. I took some profit and then it pulled back and I bought again but at 354 because I thought it was just a small little micro pullback for another move higher. Because look at this volume, 468,000 shares pre-market. It's really good. And I thought we'd see a bigger move and then we just never got that, you know, reclaim with buyers buying this back up. And I was immediately red underwater on this and I couldn't get back out. And I took that one off for a small loss. And then we curl up again, and then you just got, you know, it was low volume, and then big volume, and then sell off. Low volume, big volume, and sell off. It's just not my favorite price action. Just so choppy and just so unpredictable. And then here at the open, I was looking for a breakout here. I was kind of buying the dips. Like whenever I saw buyers buying this wick up, I would add my position and then selling it at the top of the wick. That's kind of my strategy in the first 1 minute candle, and it works really, really well. I make a lot of money on that strategy. And then here I bought the pullback here, looking for off support here, looking for a rip through the high actually, and we never really got that. So I took that off for a nice, maybe about 8-cent win. Really good for 800 shares. That was good. And then here I thought this was going to be finally that break at 81, but we double topped and we pulled back too much. I was adding here and then adding on this pullback, looking for that move, and we never got it. I took it off, and you know that was it. I was done with that stock. I could not get a solid green trade on this ticker. So that was it. And look at how like wicky this is. Like this is insanity. Forget it. Like. I should never be trading this stock ever again. It should go on my blacklist. Okay, and then we, let's see, AMPG, or PHIO I had a small trade on. Here I was looking for a break through the high. We did get that break here, and then we immediately flushed, so I took a small win there, $2. AGRI was the big winner, though, for me. As I saw DTST kind of just failing and not giving a good front side, I moved over to AGRI. This is where the volume was coming in. Over 1.5 million shares in volume per 1 minute candle. That's what I love to see on a $2 stock. Perfect. That's right in my wheelhouse. And let's see. I did see that there was no news on it. So that was, once I saw there's no news on it, it still kind of kept me a little bit more conservative. We did have a huge sell-off from pre-market, and so I was a little bit conservative. But because of the sheer volume, I was still, you know, trading like I would for a front side just because of the sheer volume. Even though there was no catalyst, if there was a catalyst, then I would be more bullish, you know, looking for a breakthrough to high. But because there's no catalyst, I was less likely convinced of, you know, adding for a continuation. I was just really buying the pullbacks, selling immediately into the pops. So here, volume was just coming in, and there was just anytime it dipped to make a red candle, it would just get bought back to a green candle. So I said, you know what the hell? I'm just gonna put in my starter here, 200 shares, okay. And if it goes down 10 cents, I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna look for another move, because I'm in only 200 shares, and I can always average down here, and we see that reclaim of the 9 EMA. That's when I start getting more aggressive at maybe 400 shares, but we never got that. We actually just kept pushing up higher and higher, because as I saw volume just coming in, that's why I just started buying blindly, not even on a pullback. I took 3 cents there, and then I added more at 228, and then it kind of ascended pretty high there, but then got a huge kind of sell after the break of 230, into which I sold some of my position, maybe about half of my position, still holding 400 shares at that point. Then I added back at 229 on the reclaim for a potential break to this previous high there. And then we got the break of the high and the pivot point. I was looking for a break of the pivot of... This was kind of like the line in the sand right there, looking for a break of that pivot. So that's what I was looking for. That's why I was kind of getting aggressive, adding a little bit higher than I would and not waiting for a pullback, is because that's the area that the stock is aiming to break. And I was definitely anticipating adding into a green candle, and I would be okay with averaging down here, because the stock is showing a lot of bullish volume, a lot of green volume coming in, and this is the resistance level it's aiming to break. So once we got that breakout, I took 1,800 shares off, and that was a nice win. Then I took the rest off. I held a core position into this extension. Then I bought the first pullback and the second pullback. Got bought up nicely, taking some off. Added at 241, 1,600 shares for the break of 243. Got a nice ascension up to 250. Took 2,000 shares off at 244, 244, 245, 239, 237. Then bought this pullback for an anticipation of break of 2.5. Never got it. Took 2-cent win. Again, adding off the 9 EMA, thinking we'd see a reclaim and a move past 250. That was the level that I was looking to break. Just the volume never came in. From there, I wanted to see higher day volume with a nice strong green candle up to 250. Never saw it, so I never really sized up enough. That's why you see my sizing was still off my starter size. That's very important. I'm not adding into continuation adding into confirmation, because there is none. So that's why you see me only having 200 share increments here and not 2,000. See, on this front side, I was up 1,600 shares, 1,200 shares, 1,600 shares. And it's because I can feel the momentum and feel the confirmation and these strong green candles making this front side. And that's why I'm adding more aggressively than back here. I can tell that it's more of on a back side because the volume's faded. You have a couple green candles here. And you have no strong green candles. You need that fresh volume pushing the highs to where that's when you want to start adding more aggressively. So that's why I kept taking small scalps here, small starter size, scalping the backside. It's very profitable for me, scalping backside, if it's still kind of in a 5-minute uptrend, because a lot of traders still trade the 5-minute chart. Almost every trader respects the 5-minute chart as well. So that's why there's still a lot of opportunity if it's in a backside on the 1 minute, but in a front side on a 5-minute. So that's why I trade this here, all this here. And then I start to fade off here as it's, not really making any more moves, no fresh volume. I was still thinking it could make that move to 250. But the volume wasn't there, so I never really got to size up. As you can see here, still 200 shares. Then you got that fake out. You can kind of suspect it because the volume was really low. It's very rare that a volume is just going to go low from kind of like a middle point on the consolidation chart, just straight up. It's usually not very authentic just to go straight up like that. That's why you can suspect that this was a false breakout, especially if you look at the volume profile. It would be low green volume going into the breakout, and then immediately high red volume as it's rejecting. And so you never really want to buy. That's why you want to be more careful, you know, buying a low volume breakout, because this is more likely to happen. But if we saw a flush first and huge red volume, and then the next candle was a strong green candle reclaiming 235 and 240, that's when, you know, you want to press the gas. You want to be in 2x your average size. You want to be close to max size, because that's very, very bullish. And that's where, you know, you're not going to have that FOMO later on when this chart's going to be at $3 or $4. And, you know, you said that you were seeing this breakout here at 240. That's when you want to get in aggressive. But the market ain't really like that right now. We did get a couple moves like that on Viru, as you saw at 10 o'clock on Friday, 10 a.m. You got that red to green. That's something that, you know, you want to get aggressive on right there. You know, punch the gas and hold it, because you got that nice front side on Friday, and that's a lot of traders had some FOMO. And me personally, had a lot of FOMO. I definitely could have did a lot better on that. But I just wasn't aggressive enough, because I was a little bit, you know, shied away because of the cold market that we had. But, you know, I just have to remind myself that, you know, one time we're going to get this strong green candle back up to the 250 area, and we're going to rip. We did kind of see that here, but the volume was consistent. You got one nice green candle. If you could have caught that for the break at 250, you could have got a potential 10 cents to 15 cents. That would have been solid, but, you know, holding for a continuation, the volume faded immediately. At that point, I was already at work, so I didn't really see that. This rejection candle, I did a bottom bounce. No, not a bottom bounce. I bought at 246, looking for the break at 250, just taking a quick scalp, and it did kind of work. However, now looking at it, this is a break-even trade, but now looking at it, I'm realizing that the risk was bigger than the reward here, because I kind of already suspected that it was going to be false breakout, and I was ready to only take a 1 or 2 cent win. And it wasn't really worth it, because, you know, my potential downside was 20 cents. So, yeah, that was a really bad trade. I shouldn't have really took this on 400 shares, you know. In a hot market, okay, maybe, yeah, starter size. I guess 400 is kind of like my starter size. More 200. I should have been a 200 minimum. 200 maximum, I mean. And then if we did get the break at 250 and the hold at 250, then I would want to look to get aggressive again. But it's very suspectful of a false breakout, and, you know, that really wasn't a worthwhile. I knew this was going to happen. I just felt it on the chart. Just the volume was faded, and it just immediately went up to the high and then flushed. Very inauthentic move. So I should never even really took that trade unless it broke 250 and held. AMPG, that was the one that I had a $60 loss on. Unfortunately, it was on my starter size, only 200 shares, but I couldn't really cut it. Something about me was very attached to this setup or something, or to the stock. I bought the first pullback, looking for it to hold the VWAP. It flushed kind of a little bit below. This is when I should have cut it. Took my 15-cent loss. However, it dipped a little bit lower, and then I kind of saw some green volume on the tape. I thought, you know, maybe we'd see that move back and that retracement and a rip towards the high. I thought maybe it could do that, but, you know, once it hit this candle, it's like I have no choice. I have to sell here, because I was in too deep. I was down 30 cents on $2.89 dollar stock. It's about 10%. I had to cut it. At least it was a starter size, but, you know, I was a little bit a sore loser here. I was a little bit attached to my loss, kind of holding it too long, you know, not paying attention, kind of a little bit hoping that it would come back up. But I'm just happy that it was a starter size, because if it wasn't, it could have been a red day today if I was in 400 or 600 shares. But it was easily to come back from a $62 loss. I was down $60 going into the open, and AGRI popped up, and I was able to recover that loss and much more. So that's, you know, the power of taking small size on a low conviction setup. And, you know, this time it didn't work out. One time it's gonna work out. I'm gonna get super aggressive coming up here in the reclaim at $3, and it's gonna rip up to 4 or 5. And that's where I'm gonna have a huge win. However, it didn't work here. I should have cut it much earlier. It's not really good that I held on to this, to be honest. So Definitely something I got to work on. After taking that loss, I was a little bit kind of like, I wasn't disappointed because it wasn't a big loss. I kind of accepted it pretty quick, but I was a little bit kind of a little bit on an uneasiness, that I was holding on to it a little bit too long, and that I noticed in myself that I was kind of waiting on hope here after it broke down on this candle, and then I was under VWAP, and like I should have just saw the chart logically and clearly that it's under VWAP. This is bearish now, and this is a huge volume red, strong red candle. That's just huge sign that I just need to get out of this position. So should have just saw that sooner, and I would have cut it. But that's how I learn. And if that didn't happen, uh, maybe this is what I need to have to protect myself in the future, and just constantly remind myself that to not get married to a position and to cut my losses. So that's it. Finishing the day up $169.31. Pretty solid. Super excited for tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow has? Who knows what the rest of the week has? The SPY is doing some weird stuff here. We might be selling off again. You never really know. Or we could do a double bottom here and retest 420. So anything can happen this week. I am ready for the best. I'm ready to get aggressive. I'm ready to add higher on pullbacks. I'm ready for some parabolic runners and to halts. I'm ready for it. So let's see if we get it this week. However, I'm not going to be going crazy. Trying to push, get too aggressive, adding into the highs until I see that confirmation that the market's going to be hot. If it stays cold like this, I'm going to continue what I'm doing, taking my profits as soon as I have them on a fresh breakout. I'm not going to be holding the breakout and then adding on a pullback, looking for another breakout. Just not what this market is giving us. And I'm just going to continue what I'm doing until I see a nice stock that has a solid catalyst and has a low float and has been proven to make some big moves, just like that we saw in Beirut. So maybe we'll get something like that this week. So super excited, and I'll see you guys on the next day trading recap. Peace.